there was a man named Rohan, one day in a city crowded with skyscrapers and the perpetual hum of life. By every standard of society, Rohan was a success. He had dedicated his life to establishing himself professionally, working hard and pushing himself up the corporate ladder with unrelenting drive. He had a large house in an upper-class area, the newest car, and had made sure his son was studying in one of the most elite schools. But despite all that wealth, Rohan was unable to shake off a seething emptiness within him. A suffocating hollowness surrounded his heart, an unexplainable sorrow no wealth or achievement could dispel. One evening, after another long day of labor, Rohan sat alone in his large living room, looking at the expensive chandelier hanging above his ceiling. His son and wife had been sleeping for hours, and the quiet of the night merely served to emphasize his isolation. He had a glass of wine, expecting that it would suppress the smothering thoughts, but it granted only minimal comfort. He had it all that he had ever wanted, so why did he feel so lost? Convinced there had to be a solution, Rohan set out to find an old monk he had heard of, a man famous for his pithy remarks and a calm demeanor that lit up darkness with light. At dawn the next morning, he rode to the outskirts of town, where the monk lived in a humble monastery within sight, and hearing of beautiful greenery and serene calls of nature. When he arrived, Rohan was received by the monk, an elderly man with warm eyes and a serene face. Rohan didn't waste any time and threw open his heart. "Master," he started with a wearied voice, "I always used to have faith in hard work and persistence. I used to work day and night for years, devoting my whole heart to work. I have obtained all that I believed I needed, a good career, a lovely home, and the finest education for my child. But all these notwithstanding, I am not joyful, I am not peaceful. My heart is weighed down with sorrow. I continue to struggle ahead, but the happiness that is supposed to go hand in hand with success always continues to elude me. Please advise me on what I am doing incorrectly." The monk sat in silence, his wise eyes fixed on Rohan's tired face. After a brief silence, he smiled softly and departed the room. When he came back, he had 3 objects in his hands: a glass ball, a porcelain ball, and a rubber ball. He gave them to Rohan and said, "Son, throw these balls in the air, one at a time, and at all times, ensure that at least one ball is in the air." Rohan was perplexed. Why was his own happiness involved here? But he trusted the monk, so he began to throw the balls as directed. It was easy in the beginning. He juggled the balls well so that he never allowed them to touch the ground. But when speed was added, it became a task. The balls were losing balance, and Rohan struggled the moment a ball was nearing falling. In his haste, he picked up the glass and porcelain balls hastily, but left the rubber ball to roll on the floor. He was standing there, gasping, and then he turned to the monk. "I did not drop the glass ball because it would have shattered. I did not drop the porcelain ball because it was precious and could have shattered. But the rubber ball, I dropped that because it is elastic and will bounce back." The monk's face folded into a smile of comprehension. "Exactly, my child. You have just discovered the solution to your query." Rohan scrunched up his face, still perplexed. "I still don't get it. How is this going to benefit me in my life?" The monk sat down and invited Rohan to sit as well. "These 3 balls symbolize the priorities of your life," he explained. "The porcelain ball symbolizes your family, your feelings, and your peace of mind, the most delicate and precious things in your life. If you do not take care of them, they will get shattered beyond repair. The glass ball symbolizes your profession, your wealth, and your success. They are precious, but they must be treated with care as they are delicate too. But the rubber ball symbolizes materialistic needs, the luxuries like fancy cars, high-end gadgets, and costly possessions. These, while enjoyable, are disposable. Even if you drop them, they bounce back." The monk stopped, giving Rohan time to take in the significance in his words. He went on, You are holding the rubber ball too tightly, seeking material comfort and materialistic excesses, and abandoning the porcelain and glass balls, your family and peace of mind. That is why you are not content. Life is balance. When life is more than one can handle, release the rubber ball, guard what matters. A lump built up in the throat of Rohan. He was overwhelmed by tears as he understood how fervently he had run after the wrong things, sacrificing his family and happiness too. He bowed in front of the monk and uttered, "Thanks, Master. I understand now." The whole way back to home, Rohan kept thinking in his mind again and again what the monk had told him. He considered all the times that he had been away from his son's school events due to work, the nights that he had spent replying to emails at the expense of having supper with his wife, and the nights that he had sacrificed sleep in order to earn more money. He had so concentrated on planning for a future that he had neglected living for the moment. That evening, rather than retreating to his study as was his custom, he sat with his son and wife and heard their tales and laughed over a plain meal. For the first time in years, there was real warmth in his heart. He resolved to change, to put the things that mattered most to him first. With time, Rohan learned how to create boundaries at the workplace, how to spend quality time with his family, and how to enjoy the small things in life. He continued to work hard, but no longer let his work in the office absorb his entire being. He realized that success was not merely a matter of making money, but was a matter of loving, being peaceful, and being bonded with the people who loved him the most. In the whirlpool of life, we get so busy trying to do things outside of ourselves, thinking that success, wealth, and possessions will make us happy. But in doing so, we risk losing sight of what really feeds our souls, our relationships, our well-being, and the love we have with those around us. This tale reminds us that when we are trying to achieve success, we should never lose sight of what life is all about. Real happiness lies not in amassing stuff or riches, but in keeping and tending what is important to us. When we put love, peace, and harmony at the top of our list first, we will have a happiness that no worldly success can offer.